We talk about the feminine power. This water that I have in my hand is a very powerful medicine. We refer to it as the blood of the Holy Sacred Mother, Mother Earth. This can make a flower beautiful, make a tree grow tall, make each and every one of you this thing spiritual, holy, sacred. You're all these things to begin with. How did this come about? This medicine here, water. We refer to this as the fluid of the womb. And for 9 months, each and every one of you dwelt in darkness, the fluid of the womb. Being that little miniature human being until it was time for you to leave the safety of the female. The dam broke, and then you seen light. Then you had to learn to breathe. Then you had to learn.
Closer to the microphone.
Then you had to learn to feed yourself. The females did her share for 9 months. So a lot of times we wonder what happened to that. Do we ever stop to think about the mother? For years, I used to really hate my mother because it was on account of her that she won't let me participate in the traditional dances. What I didn't realize before that took place that she had a very tough life. Her mother died when she was very young, so her father took her out of school to take care of her brothers and sisters. And she went into this thing we call organized religion. She kind of got fanatical about it. And so she forbid this that I get involved in. My dad, he was fairly educated, so he traveled 2 worlds. He was very confusing. As a young lad, being growing up in the desert in Arizona, very confusing. He talked about the natural way, then he turned right around and said, "There's nothing, it's gone." How can that be? And that way, the natural way, took care of my people for thousands of years. We migrated out of old Mexico using this natural way. My dad talked about this thing. I was really confused then. They wanted me to go to school. They wanted me to go to church. I had to do these things. Never in my mind, or never it was pointed out about this feminine power. So I grew up very confused. Everything was thinking, no feelings. And I couldn't attach to the feminine side of myself. Every one of you in this room have both of these, the masculine and the feminine. How do we balance these things out? I really don't know, because that becomes a very personal thing. My teachers always tell me, do not try to define spirituality. It's too personal. You get books and they give their version of spirituality. If you learn the language of the heart, you will talk to the spirits. It happens to me a lot of times. It's not this language that I'm using. I'm not even good at this language I'm using. Yeah, I know my language. And that's the way I have to communicate with the spirits, with the Creator. And some way, somehow, I began to think about, how did I get here? The unity of the female and the male. Unity. Of course, there are different kinds of unity. You can tie a cat and a dog's tail together, throw them over a car, a line, that's unity. So over the years, I began to look at this thing. Then this one guy, he spent 15 years in prison. And he was one of my teachers. And he told me about this. You always must remember those 9 months. They're part of your foundation. If you don't remember them, there's a big void in your life, he told me. Then I began to think about that. Each and every one of you in this room have a scar. It's a very sacred scar, you call it a navel. This proves that you spent 9 months in darkness, the womb. I've learned from other people. And I began to think about this 9 months that I was talking about. My friend, we used to work together. He was a pretty smart man, but just like all of us that came off the reservation, we got obsessed with something, alcohol. Like I often say, I got nothing to hide. I used a lot of ways to try to find myself. I used this walk Western Causeway to find myself. It didn't work. I used the logging, cowboy, riding broncs. I couldn't find my way. I was reaching too far out. When we reach too far out, we get away from ourselves. It's right in here, the answers. We have to go inside ourselves. And begin to get in touch with that feminine power. Because everything we do, if you really slow down, especially the female, you fall into that masculine thinking. Look at it. Like I said, I can't change it, and I'm not even going to try. I'm just going to point some things out that were given to me. This is not mine. One thing I want to make clear, I'm just a messenger. I'm not the message. I'm just a messenger. People try to ask me, what are you going to talk about? I don't know. I have to wait until the situation is right. Then I get how I'm supposed to do things, how I'm supposed to word things. I have to do a lot of reading. And some of those readings, books that I read, there's something similar that happened in my life. Not exactly the same thing, and I can relate to it. Like dreams. I know every one of you have dreams, and even those dreams, you might get obsessed and get into trouble. I know. I've seen it happen, and it happened to me. Like I said, in my earlier days, I was a pretty decent bronc rider. That's all I thought about, kind of getting obsessed with it. Not in belt, getting out of belt. That's all I thought about. There's a little place back home on the reservation close to the mountains where we had a corral. And there was a Catholic church on the hill. So Sundays we'd go up there and ride broncs. And I liked to go over there. It was quite a ways to go on horseback, but being obsessed with it, I'd make it over there. After coming back, I think what a good ride I made, getting really obsessed with it. So one night I had a dream. We were over there again, getting ready to ride. And these cowboys that were out in the corral, getting to rope the one horse that I wanted. I couldn't see their faces. It was spiritual, the spirits, trying to teach me something. Those horses kind of mingled on one side of the corral. And here come a big rattlesnake. Came into the corral. Them guys said, "This is the thing you're going to ride." Man, I was scared. I started crying. I had my chaps on and bronc rein, my spurs, my saddle. So they roped this big rattlesnake. And it flopped around, real strong. Oh man, was I scared. Now, if any of you know what fear is, your lip quivers. You shake all over, you try to laugh, it comes out funny. Even your butthole like it's going to fall out. You're so scared. I was that scared. So they got it ready, and some way they wrapped the mouth of that rattlesnake. Put my halter on my saddle. Okay, cowboy. No, it's in Puerto Rico, not good I am. You said you're a cowboy, get on is what that means. And I was so scared, I was still crying, so I got on. We turned it loose, and that thing exploded. Came unglued is another term cowboys use. It was through my fear and something, I woke up. I was all soaked in sweat. I cried for about an hour. So this is what it's going to come to. But being the tough guy that I thought I was, I still kept on. It took many years for it to catch up with me though. About a month ago, a year ago, 8 months or whatever, just an ordinary horse almost done me in up at the ridge. Broke 4 ribs, punctured my lung. I was in bad shape and I didn't know it. But this is how these things pay us back. Because all my life I abused things. I abused good horses. I abused livestock. And I abused the female. So I wonder about this thing, spirituality. I was told by my teachers, a very religious person doesn't mean he's spiritual. And a very spiritual person doesn't mean he's religious. So how do we acknowledge this thing about spirituality? I was also told that you have to really know about who you are. That you have a woman carrier for 9 months. That you spent 9 months in darkness. I never used to think about that. You don't talk about such things in this day and age. Why, that man should be ashamed of himself talking like that. So, but I had to do that to understand, again, that it's who I was. That acknowledging these two powers and keeping them in balance is what is known as my way of learning spirituality. It goes to prove that a lot of us look like we're in balance. We use both hands. But which one do you use the most? Out of balance. You walk like you're in balance. Are you? Because we're reaching out too far for something to put us in balance when it's right here. So when I began to look at the feminine side of life, you can even talk about this water as the feminine power. It's how we use it. Like in the sweat lodge when you pour it on the stone, and the intercourse of the feminine and the masculine. And this darkness, that's just nothing new to any of you. You know what darkness is. What does it mean to you? It was used to scare you. You spend 9 months in darkness. The boogeyman might get you. I've lived through these type of things. I'm pushing 76 and I'm still learning. My teachers always tell me, if you quit learning, it's over. Learn. Like each and every one of you, you have to keep learning. Learn who you are. You're a human being. What is a human being? It's up to you to find out. And we talk about the Great Spirit, the Creator, Grandfather. Is it because somebody said that? That's why we say that? Our Heavenly Father? Well, if it's that closely related to you, you must have some of his characteristics. You can create something. Create a life. That's why it was important for me to mention, like some of you have been in the military, maybe you kind of don't want to even think about it. Why? You did something to maintain this thing, a good life. like I said, this gathering is not going to be broke up with guys coming here with rifles, pistols. It's on account of these things that your aunts, uncles, sweethearts, nephews, fathers went across to maintain this thing that we enjoy so much. Or do you? How grateful are you for these things that have been protected by the lies? The elders knew about it, the Kiowa elders. When they sang this song, they're praying. It's a prayer song for the Great Spirit to take care of our sons, to bring them back. What do we pray for today? I've learned through my teachers that you quit asking for things. You got everything. Just use it. Don't ask and ask and ask. I used to, I still do a lot of this. And sometimes when I first started, I used to have them pray individually. They keep asking for things. I got everything. Why don't you use them? It's just like some of you get a Cadillac, you want another one. Use it. I've learned that I've got so much I haven't used. Look at your people in here. You are my teachers, every one of you. I'm going to learn from you. I'm going to learn something from you. In order to be a teacher, you have to be a student. What are you learning about yourself? You take this thing we call spirituality. I was told by my teachers it means to be real, the real you. So I know you have some odd behaviors, I do. That's just a behavior. It can change. Create, in other words. That relationship you talked about in your prayer, your grandfather, my heavenly Father, He gave us everything. The core of all those things that He gave us, very simple: air and water. If it wasn't for this air and water, you in the audience that were in the military wouldn't have been in the military on account of this air and water. Those boys that are across there wouldn't be there if it wasn't for air and water. This is how powerful this medicine is. This is your medicine. What are you going to do about it? Every one of you have come a long ways in life. Just looking at every one of you. Some of you got a little more gray hair than I do. Does that bother you? Part of your medicine that you might not be using in a good way. How do I know that? Because I used to do that. I take air for granted until the air is really bad and I have to run outside and take gulps of good air, then forget about it. There's so much that comes from this simple, very powerful medicine, air and water. This has to have, I think the word is oxygen, whatever that means, I don't know, in it. You need that for this thing you call a brain, oxygen. So you have to use this water. The trees, the tree nation, takes care of us. It rains, goes in its roots, and it keeps that water table so we can use this medicine. Those are our relatives, the tree nation. They're very helpful. You know, this thing you call TP or toilet paper comes from the tree nation. Water. You don't want to talk about such things. Why, the dirty old man. Let's be real. This is part of the realness when we look at the simple things. It's so simple, it's right in front of us. We don't want to see it. How do I know that? Because I'm very good at that. Some of you might think I'm reading your mail. I'm just looking at myself. I'm just talking about myself because I've done these things. And I still have a tendency to slip back into that old groove. When I left home, I was still looking for myself. I tried so many ways. I was looking too far out there instead of looking at myself like I'm capable of doing now. It used to be very uncomfortable for me to look at myself. Why do you want to hurt somebody? A lot of times when we are growing up, you might have had a bad life, and so you got big enough to get even, you start striking out at everybody. How do I know that? I went through that stage. I never was a very big guy. When I was a little guy, I was very stunt growth. So I was always picked on. I wanted to get even so bad, but I couldn't because I was too small. So when I got big enough, I started striking out at everybody. Hey, he's a mean guy. How come I became mean? See, we create things that we don't want to acknowledge. But again, it's not their responsibility, it's my responsibility to choose to change. We have choices to make. And it's on account of that choice that you choose and you begin to use it, you can change that choice. Like tonight, you can choose to take whatever you learn and use it to your version. Or you can choose to just set it aside for a while. Or you can choose to say that crazy old man doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. 3 choices. Maybe in time you'll understand choice. Maybe some of you know an individual you gave up on. A lot of people gave up on me. My brother got killed by a horse, and at the funeral, this one aunt of mine came and cried. She told me to, I'm so bad. Hey, what about? Which means, slow down, slow down. You're heading the wrong way. Slow down, slow down. Didn't make any difference. I still went on doing what I was doing. That must have been when I was about 16, 15 years old. Nobody could tell me anything. Some of you guys in the audience, I remember them days when you was going to go out and whip the world. I was about 16 years old. You think I'm reading your mail? I went through that. Because again, that thinking, there's nothing wrong with the intellectual if we balance it with your spiritual mind. And maybe on account of they always refer to, my teachers did anyway, that the spiritual mind is called the pure mind, and it's the feminine side of you. And that masculine is what we use mostly, it's what we train most of the time. You went to school and that's what you use, that's what you train. The hell with your feminine side. You know that. Of course, you don't have to admit it. But I can see that now, the way I was raised. Of course, like the good guy I am, I didn't want to get educated. I had enough education. So I fought the organized religion and education. It's not going to go away just because I didn't acknowledge it. Look at what's happening today. It's getting better and better. But it's not wrong. It's how we use it. It's how you accept yourself. It's how you use it. The thing is not to get obsessed with it. Be balanced. Use both hands. When you go home, you wash your face. I bet it'll be awkward if you try to use the opposite hand to put water in. Most of the time you'd go this way and have water. Try the left side. I bet you'll feel uncomfortable. We do things like this and we don't realize it. Why? We talk about the great mystery. My grandchildren, you're the great mystery. What do you know about yourself? Are you willing to accept that scar that will prove to you that a woman carried you for 9 months? I had to do that. At first, it was very uncomfortable. Until I finally realized that's why I'm here, on account of that feminine. She had her ways, yes, but it was the conditioning, it was just the physical. Just like every one of you in this room, you're good people. See, I know that. He doesn't know what I have. I know you're good people. On account of that scar you have. You're good people. You're strong, you're holy, you're sacred. What you going to do about it? Push it down again? Warp your own growth? You're so powerful, every one of you. Look at all that power you use to hold yourself back. You might not think so, but it shows. Fear. What's wrong with fear? Nothing wrong with fear. It's just a natural human reaction. Again, if we get obsessed with it, then things take place. What's the opposite of fear? When you work through that fear, you might find something you call courage. It's around us every day and night. Your left and your right, up and down. There's always two sides to things. It took me a long time to learn that. So I'm pretty stubborn. I'm not only a good guy, I'm a stubborn good guy. But again, like I say, you have three choices. What you want to do with this? I'm offering you. I'm just offering this to you. It's not mine. It's not mine. I had a lot of plans what I was going to do. I wasn't allowed to do it. Because that's not what the Creator wants, what the spirits want. I was going to bring my sacred ego with as a white feather. I even had it packed. I was ready to bring it. Oh, I'll really do some stuff. I'm not supposed to do that. There's a time and place for things like that. I don't want to confuse you. I could smudge you down. That's not the thing. You get away from the main thing. First, you got to understand yourself. First. Then the smudging means something. Do you know what water is? It's a kind of air and water that we can use to smudge. Years ago, when I was still making believe I was a counselor, I went to this place where I was going to talk to a group of male and female Indian people, young people. And for whatever reason, the supervisor came in there and said, you can't do this, you can't smudge. I had my sage. Oh, that's all right. Boy, I really fooled him. I just used water. Went back to the very beginning of that thing you call smudging. I told them, this is what we're going to use. It's on account of this water that you have sage. This is the real thing. No, they didn't laugh at me. They accepted it because they wanted to smudge. Go back to the beginning. Your beginning, air and water. Know who you are. You're only human and you're good people. See, I know that. I know you're good people, every last one of you. You're strong, you're holy, you're secret. I know that. What are you going to do about it? Prove me wrong. Go ahead, prove me wrong. That's what I'm really here for, is for you to prove me wrong. But I'm going to continue in this way I call the natural way. People call it the old way. How can it be old when we're still using it? You keep it alive. That's the old way, not this cowboy. You give it life, like the sweat lodge. Every time we do that, we keep that ceremony alive. When you go in the sweat lodge, or if you ever go in the sweat lodge, all it means is you're going back into the womb of the Mother Earth. You're using darkness and light. You're using air and water. When you become stronger, learn to accept Mother Earth. She's not going to leave you. She'll always be there. A two-legged woman will leave you. My 10th wife left me. I know. She'll never leave you. Not a lot of times we walk out crying, we're lonely, we don't know what to do. We're walking right on Mother Earth, not acknowledging her presence. We literally suck on her breast, this woman, till the day we die. You used to place for your family, homes, jobs, the Mother Earth. And we say Mother Earth. I had to look at that real seriously. Why am I saying Mother Earth? Just because somebody said it? I have to understand my reason for saying it. One of my teachers pointed out something to me that was very, very hard to accept. He said, your life's not planned. It never will be. It's what you do with it. Because you have everything there to make a good life. It's just here, make a good life. So it's not planned. The future's not planned. We have everything there to make it the way we want it. Of course, you have to live in this day and age. There's nothing wrong with it. Just don't get obsessed with it. Always come back to yourself. Accept who you are. You're part of creation. You live and breathe just like the eagle. You use air and water just like the four-legged, the deer. There are relatives, the tree people, the stone people. One guy was pointing that out one time at the Sundays, and there was little kids around. And somebody opened a carton of donuts. Donut people. So this way, there's always a little humor involved in this way. But when I was forced to go to church, that wasn't so. It was something that I learned to hate until after I got older, then I began to see that there's nothing wrong with it. It was just the way it was presented to me. It was shoved down my throat. If you die, you're going to go to hell. Well, come along. He used to tell me, this God will punish you. Oh, that's what I heard when I was in boarding school. Ah, man, what the heck am I going to do? Until later years, I find out that it's not a punishing God. That's why He gives us everything. Here, make a good life. No questions asked. That was a man-made concept. God will punish you. What happens when they put that in our cabeza? We punish ourselves. We make them good teachers. Of course, I don't know if any of you were in boarding school, but this particular school that I was sent to, one of the main subjects was study of the Bible, from the 5th grade on to the 12th grade. But like the good guy I am, I never went that high. 5th grade was good enough for me. But I learned a lot now that I think about it. Exodus, Leviticus, Deuteronomy. But that doesn't mean anything. This, like this water and the sweat lodge and the drumming, can really get to me. That drum there is the unity again. Always the unity. The unity of two very powerful nations. The four-legged nation and the tree nation. Unity. And gives this very powerful symbol. I think about it. And it comes back to you, my grandchildren, that unity. You're very powerful. That's why I know you're very powerful. Today, it's a good day. A little cloudy, but it's still a good day because I choose how to use that day. If it rains, I still choose how to use that. Becoming skillful and how to bend my choosing. Just like each and every one of you, you have that ability to make a good life. You have everything. The core of that is air and water. The very core of everything is air and water. I can't make you believe that. I can just offer it to you. That's all I can do. Like I said, please believe I'm not the message. I'm just a messenger. And so I'll give this to you. You can be the messenger. Not necessarily getting up and doing this thing, but how you walk on Mother Earth. How you accept yourself. That good energy that you comes out of you. Young kids like to be around you. Animals like to be around you. Then you learn how to talk to the plants from the heart, that heart language, that spirit language. You're all capable of doing this. When? How? I don't know. Maybe you can put it aside for a year. Maybe you can do it now. It's your choice again. Air and water. Homer, listen.
Answer some questions in a little bit. Would you be willing to do that?
Well, let them take a break.
Okay.
So, who has a question?
Nobody was.
Is this for me? That song doesn't have any words. It's a vocalization. And, hold on a minute.
What, can you talk to them about songs? And that was from Marianne. She wanted to know what I was saying. But if you could talk about the different kind of songs, like honor songs and different sorts of songs and what they're about.
Well, this thing about songs is there's so many different ways that these songs come about. Over the years, I've heard a lot of songs that came out of Canada, sung by a group that was known as the Chiniki Lake Singers. Then here, just about 4 or 5 years ago, that same song was used at the Sundance. And the different story was that this grandma went on a vision quest, and the song came to her. And that's possibly, well, that can happen. because over the years I've heard a lot of, not a lot, several power songs that came to be Sunday songs. Because it comes to an individual, a lot of times that there's no words to it. Because again, like I was saying, there's the heart language. That when you hear those songs, so if you really listen to those songs, he'll get to you. Your feet will want to move, or you'll have a feeling in it, because it's not, I don't know how to say it, it's a language of it itself. It's the heart language, very deep feelings. So when you shout everything out and you really listen, I've noticed this. Years ago, I was asked to take the drum to these, I think you call them middle schools, where real young people are. And it really got to those young kids, because they were really into their feelings. And I used to have them sit on the drum, those young, real, maybe third graders or whatever, and it really got to them. And they didn't want to leave the drum because of what I was doing. I'd take set five down and tell them to make room for it, keep moving. And of course they have real feelings. They're not contaminated yet, so to speak.
Okay, so he wants to know about,
He's asking about, thank you. He's asking about the four directions, the medicine wheel and the Father Sky and Mother Earth and the center. And if there's 7 directions, is that what you're asking about, the difference between the 7 directions and the 4 directions?
Yeah, with the way that we communicate with our Creator.
Right. When we communicate with the Creator. So he wants.
did you hear that?
What?
He's asking about,
Just telling me in Pima.
oh, right. So he's asking about the 4 directions and the 7 directions and our connection, and whether there's a 7th direction, which is
Yeah.
their connection. So he wants you to talk about that.
That again is, it's not what somebody, how shall I put it? It's what you learn. It's not like reading a book. You don't get that understanding from somebody else, an expert's experience. It has to be your own experience to understand. I could tell you, but what would it really mean to you? If you write it down and memorize it, it has to be that deep feeling. Your real spiritual, your real spirit. One thing I can say, the reason you ask this is because you kind of know about it, your spirit knows about it. But what might be happening is your intellectual pushes that down. I'll forget it some other time. That's why we have to learn to balance these 2 minds, so to speak. Your spiritual and your intellect. That's why anything I say, you kind of know about it. Because it's in here. It's nothing that, because I was talking from personal experience. And that's what it takes to understand. Sure, I can tell you about the 4 directions, but there's so many different versions of those 7 directions. Okay, what version do you want? The real one, Hollywood, my version, or the Spirit's version?
I like my version too.
Another question? If you ever want to ask him a question, now is the time, because you may never have another option. Yes. He wants to know if you can share a story about Ira.
He wants to know if you can share a story about Ira Hayes.
This is a good one.
Hagi ootama tjugi Ira Hayes och då kom hoppi då kom pima. Så var picket så höga jag till njak. Så mycket mjölka. I knew this Ira Hayes personally. We drank wine together, and he was half Hopi and half Pima. He was raised on the Pima Reservation over in close to Secretary, close to the agency, and he really understood our language, but he never talked it. He always talked English. And when he came home, he was so, I don't know the words, confused, because so many people were watching, so many people wanted to help him. And so he took him up on it, but he never followed through. Like I remember they gave him, I forgot what year that was, I think it was 46, those little Fords with the round back, and they're real light. And he was given one, brand new. And so he'd go to Phoenix from Secretary. He had a guy with him, and they picked up some guys from the air base. They wanted to go to Phoenix, and so Ira picked them up, and he told a friend of mine, my cousin was riding with him. They started out, they're going about 80 miles an hour, and that thing was weaving. Well, some of you know about those early Fords, they're real light. And so Ira told this guy, step on the gas pedal with me. And it scared these airmen, and the next stoplight, they climbed out of that car.
Okay, there's a question here that's been submitted by the audience. So I'll read it, and then it says, if there are two powerful people, both have a lot of spiritual power, but they don't know it, and they keep confusing and hurting each other, how can I hold on to my own power?
You're there was never in my group. Okay, this thing is it really? Is it the real thing? Because again, that the beginning of that your spiritual growth can be warped. What has to happen is you have to nourish it. You have to nourish it so it'll grow. But if you use it too quick, these things happen. You gotta let it take roots, and you kind of forget about using it in whatever way. Because what happens, it begins to show in your actions, the way you talk, the people you're around, it begins to fill you. But that does happen a lot. They don't let it grow. I see that a lot. In other words, they abuse it. They use it before it's completely mature, I guess is the word. I'm not too good at this Chinese, so I'm just trying to make it as plain as I can. So, and like you was wondering how to, what does it say?
How can I hold on to
my own power.
Okay, what might help you, I can't really tell you this is the way to do it. That's not right. What might really help you is to learn from these two. They're your teachers. They're teaching you how not to be. They're teaching you what can happen if you abuse this. I've seen a lot of this happen, and I suggest that they don't abuse it. No, I'm not abusing, and pretty soon something happened. And I can say I told you so because it wasn't me. The message came to me to tell them that. So you're only to protect yourself, I guess is the word. You have to learn from them. You have to learn. They're your teachers. See what happens when you abuse the thing. See what happens when you use it to quit. Which again reminds me of a story that I heard, which kind of falls in line with what your question is. This little girl, she was very into nature, always walking around looking at the young growth. This cocoon was on this flower, and she heard that little tapping. And she ran to her teacher. So I heard this cocoon tapping. And he told her something's going to be born. So she wanted to be helpful, too helpful, like a lot of us are all the time. And she opened the cocoon. So this creature couldn't fly because it wasn't ready. So that's a kind of something like you're talking about, to just learn. It might look scary, but again, don't get obsessed with fear. Go beyond that fear. And somehow, someplace, you'll find what the real courage is. I hope that makes it a little bit clearer.
I was wondering if you showed the people of the Northwest how to do the chicken scratch dance.
Yeah, we were just down there watching. He wants to know if you can share with the people of the Northwest how to do the chicken scratch dance.
Really all that is a Mexican dance. It is, yeah. So that's why a lot of those tunes are Mexican tunes, like Dos Palomas, Juan Charosquero. See, I used to know all those until I quit dancing. Hey. In fact, my tribe migrated from old Mexico. That's why a lot of them still use that. Violin, guitar, and accordion, and what they call pascola, because that originated in old Mexico. And when we migrated over, bands settled, and my band was way the last of the settlements. That's why there's very strong guitars, violin, because that originated. That's what we brought over. But we still have our own dances, like deer dance. And it's a combination of what we gathered along the way, so to speak.
We were just down on his reservation for the Molchuta, which is his tribal fair, and got to see some of those old dances. It was very special. Who else had a question?
I don't have a question, but I just wanted to say that I've known Uncle Rod a long time, not as long as many other people. It'd be 4 or 5 years. And I've heard more words tonight than I've heard in all those years. And I know that the times that we haven't been hearing words, that you are in prayer and listening to Creator. And so I thank you for moving away from your prayer to come talk to us tonight.
She said that in 5 years, she's heard more words from you tonight than in all the other 5 years put together. And that she was very happy that you moved away from your prayer to talk to them tonight.
Yeah.
The Blazer game. This is my mother.
This is my very beautiful mother-in-law.
Well, I have the honor of being Rod's mother-in-law. He's not only a great teacher, but he has a wonderful sense of humor. And not too long ago, I said, there's an adult bookstore down from where they live, Barber. And so I was going to pick up Rod, and I said, Rod, I'll pick you up at such and such a time. He said, well, you know where I'll be? I'll be down at the bookstore. Anyway. He's really brought a new dimension to our family.
I just really appreciate, this is, my brother came up from Astoria, my sister's here, this is the first time they've ever heard Rod talk. More than a few words, really. So I really appreciate that they came. Any other questions? Yeah.
I was just wondering about the importance of tradition in terms of its connection to spirituality.
Okay, so he said he wanted to know about the.
Did everybody hear that? He wants to know about the importance of tradition and its connection to spirituality.
So the importance of tradition and the connection between tradition and spirituality.
Well, my understanding is that it's on account of knowing who you are and accept that you have a spirit. Then you get this thing, tradition. It's not the other way around. You don't try to use traditions to get spirituality. It won't work. It'll be too superficial. It'll work to a certain extent, but it's too superficial. Tradition is knowing who you are. Like every one of you, you're traditional, whether you like it or not. If you know who you are, you have to know who you are, then that comes out. This spirituality, then you connect it with tradition. What is tradition? One time I often thought about what this word meant, tradition. So I was doing work at the prison in Salem. I went down, did the ceremony, then I had some time, so I went to Denny's. And I was going to get something to eat and I opened the menu. Oh, so that's what tradition is. Right there on top it said, the traditional hamburger.
So she's Jewish and she's an artist, and she wants to, and she's realizing that there's a lot of connection between her art and her Judaism, and and your talk has brought up a lot of issues for her, and she wants to know how to go deeper with it in terms of making even more of a connection.
Like I said at the beginning, that when we seek something, we're reaching too far out. When it's right here, your spirit. If you really accept it, that, like I said, all of you are spiritual people, whether you like it or not. Can you really accept it? How does it make you feel when I say you're spiritual? You're a spiritual being. Because you're a human being, and you have that scar. That's a very spiritual scar, a navel. And your answers are right here, and you are doing partially the right thing by relating to your art, but some way or another you're cutting it off. You're looking too far out, and bring it in there. Bring it inside of you, and the answers are right here. That's why I have to be very careful. I can't tell you how to do it. Look, this is how you do it. You eat 3 lemons a day. I can't do that. I can just kind of point you to the truth. Then you have to find the truth. It's there. You're reaching out too far. It's inside of you. And it's partially coming out through your creative, this art that you're creating. But can you accept that it's coming? Maybe there are times when you really feel this thing you're doing, really feeling it. Why are you cutting it off? Only you can answer that.
Anybody else?
Let them go home.
One more question, right there.
My question is probably a great follow-up on her question. I look around, I see the art that's around us, and clearly this artist has got a connection between his dreams and his visions. And I was wondering if Uncle Rod could speak on that, maybe the difference between the two, if there is one.
Between dreams and visions?
Between dreams and visions, and I'm particularly interested in acting on visions in particular.
Dreams, again, is just, it's, I guess the word is potential. And like some of these pictures here, they were just potentials until they put them on the canvas, so to speak. And your vision is part of this thing that you have when you get in balance, and then you have that vision. And that vision, whatever it is, you must follow through. There's no if and then about it. If it is a vision, you must follow it through. They'll tell you, you'll be told how to do again through that feeling. It's not a words thing, it's through the feeling that you'll be guided. Do it this way. Of course, like the good people we are, we like to color it up. It doesn't work that way. We have to follow our guidance. Then it becomes colorful. Okay, just like these pictures that were put, and they look beautiful on account of their dream, so to speak. But what happens if they don't follow that, put that down, it disappears, that dream. Of course, there's so many different versions of interpretation of dreams, and I'm not even going to try. It's a very personal thing, something that you're guided to, so to speak. The spirits are guiding you to whatever it is, or like in the vision. Like years ago when people used to want to pull skulls at the Sunday, the medicine man used to take them down and ask them, what is your vision? Well, they have to have a vision before they can do it. But that's changing again. It's not, it's like just like everything else, it's be changing so much. So, you should just take it as your personal guidance and follow it through in whichever way, whether it's a dream or whether it's a vision.
Okay,
I don't go home.
we're gonna let